Evaneglion, known for its complicated lore, unstable characters, general weirdness, and, oddly enough, elevators. Evaneglion perfectly captures that feeling of awkwardness and entrapment, which makes it even more immersive. It's also in one of these scenes where Ava's quality creativity shines the brightest. So let's talk elevators. What about this scene that mostly consists of one frame to make it so iconic? And how does it really show the creativity behind the show? Number 1. Its length. The awkward silence of the scene that lasts about a minute long adds suspense to the scene. 2. The characters stuck in the elevator are foils of each other, which means they have opposite personalities that highlight each other's extremes. This natural conflict sets the stage for an explosive interaction if one dared to antagonize the other. 3. The payoff of the elevator scene is a silence and suspense that actually leads somewhere, unlike in real life where such interactions go nowhere. The subconscious fear of confrontation in a space you cannot escape manifests itself in this scene, which adds to the memorability. Asuka, vulnerable from identity crisis and trapped, is antagonized by Rei for her Eva piloting failures, which is the cause for her identity crisis. Asuka deflects by attacking Rei's identity instead defending herself. Rei, uncaring about her puppet-like behavior, leaves Asuka with nothing to come back with, except, I hate you. The iconic scene is a product of these 4 aspects. But what sets it apart is the long calm before the storm. So it kinda sucks to know that the part that made it so unique only existed due to time constraints. As the animators rushed to reanimate previous episodes, Evangelion's last 2 episodes suffered massive cuts in animation quality due to the time limit that they faced. Arnold's reluctance to plan episodes ahead of time contributed to the issue, but what really set the team back was the Tokyo subway siren attacks, which resembled an episode in Eva too much. To preserve the animation quality, the studio often reused cells from other episodes and increased static dialogue scenes for characters. This approach is common in anime, which allows animators to focus on scenes that require more frames, ensuring smooth animation during action sequences, even with limited time. But studios like to avoid stilted dialogue scenes, so they try to keep them dynamic while using minimal animation. They accomplish this by animating only the hair and clothing, facial expressions, or the whole character with the lip flaps, although the latter can result in some awkward character movement. To put it simply, it looks like the character's having a seizure. Parallaxing, though, is the most effective approach, requiring minimal effort while delivering really dynamic scenes. This technique involves moving objects closest to the camera more than ones further away from the camera. On the other hand, you can do the opposite, which gives a feeling of the whole world moving around the object of focus. None of these, though, were involved when it came to this scene, or even this scene where the majority is also a single frame. Altering the context or over-dramatizing them would significantly dilute their impact, as their power lies in their suspense they create in these moments of inactivity. I dislike Rebuild of Evangelion. The remake stripped out every element that made the original so great in the pursuit of being different. Despite what some people may claim, these changes were apparent from the very first film. A closer analysis reveals that vital scenes which built Shinji's character were missing, most likely due to the lack of limitations. Interestingly, it appears that constraints led to more creative scenes where unlimited resources resulted in generic ones. However, this does not necessarily mean that more constraints lead to higher quality. There seems to be a false dichotomy between the two, as in, if it's creative, it must be quality, and that constraints always result in uninspired work. Of course, there are reasons for this that are obvious, any of which I'm sure I don't need to point out to you. Despite the time crunch, the final 2 episodes of Evangelion are not bad, especially considering the creative expression of the themes and the character arcs. The animation quality of these episodes appear to be a result of artistic choices rather than budgetary limitations, or time constraints in this case, showing the team's creativity. However, when compared to the alternative ending, the end of Evangelion, the final 2 episodes seem to be lacking when paired side by side. End of Eva, while being less stylistically creative, is an ending that is far more quality of an ending in just story alone. End of Eva has no budget problems, it has no time constraints, and it ended up being better than the prior ending. So what exactly is the point I'm trying to make here? While looking for a clip from adaptation from my video about intent, I came across a comment on YouTube that read, "McKee killed my creativity." I laughed at this notion. You see, McKee, the author of Story, Style, Structure, Substance, and the Principles of Screenwriting, is known for despising cliches, and offers techniques in his book to help writers avoid them. So, if someone feels like McKee killed their creativity, it may just mean that they weren't very creative to begin with. As humans, we tend to take the easiest path possible when pursuing our desires. This works well for survival, but not for creating art. When given creative freedom, people often turn towards the generic. Projects with constraints to them tend to be more creative. For most of NGE, the team had struck a balance between having enough constraints to keep the team on their toes, while still maintaining quality. But too many constraints can limit quality, as seen in the last 2 episodes. True creativity does not come from having complete freedom, but from discovering how to surpass restrictions. However, as we learned, creativity does not guarantee quality, but uniqueness. If you desire to create the unique and quality, you should identify the commonalities throughout the stories that you digest, that you and many others despise. This could be a plot point, a character trait, anything, but it must be common. Then constrain yourself from using it by all means, and you'll find out why so many people use it. And knowing why is the most important part of the process, because then you get to the root of the problem. If you want a head start on how to restrict your writing in the good way, or in other words, learn good writing techniques, click the video on screen right now. Like, you better do it now, or else, you die. 100%. You don't want to die, right? Please?
You could do the rump shaker, huh? The thug shaker. Give me the thug shaker, dude. Shake your ass.